CNN,
right.
and if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts his butt.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly said
you aren't the best,
Mr. President. You repeatedly over the course of the
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead,
Mr.
Chris Direwalt joins me now, Fox News politics editor. What do you think?
Well, this is great news for Jim Acosta, who the news about Jeff Sessions had overshadowed. All of the clip rolls that he was probably going to get to watch tonight and do all the hits and talk about himself as the center of this story had gotten blown away by Jeff Sessions. But now, with this revelation, it brings him back to the pulsating core of the pointless conflict between this administration and reporters.
So you think the White House made a mistake doing it because it just gives him more attention?
No, I think it works for the White House. I think it works. I think that this pointless bickering and unprofessional, childish behavior serves both sides of the equation. I think they both get what they want out of it. Jon Stewart said the other day that the president is so smart and that he knows that if he appeals to the vanity of reporters, that they will take the bait. I watched a bunch of good questions in that press conference. I watched of course, John Roberts do it, but Major Garrett down the line,
absolutely,
national and international, good substantive questions. And we get to ask so few questions of this president, relatively speaking. Why are you wasting them for these performative, this silliness to do this stuff? And now the White House gets to keep the story going, which is we're at war with the lying press, the enemy of the people. Aren't you the enemy of the people? Who cares? Who on earth cares, except for the fact that it serves the interests of both this administration and that reporter?
And Chris Wallace said today that he thought that Jim Acosta embarrassed himself.
It was absurd.
And he thought it was rude. So we'll see where it goes from here. The drama continues. And as you point out, the president has said, it gets everybody off the subject.
Gets everybody off the subject. That's
right. So we'll see where it goes.
Joining me right now, one of those Dems who doesn't seem to see what's wrong with all this, former Hillary Clinton advisor, Philippe Reines, forgive me, I keep forgetting you've got the French thing going on. Also with me, Fox News contributor, Deneen Borelli. Good to see you both.
Thank you, Trish.
Hey, Trish.
Philippe, you tweeted out, and I quote, "This White House employee got physical with Jim Acosta, but not a single protester touched Sarah Sanders, Kirstjen Nielsen, Stephen Miller, Ted Cruz, or Mitch McConnell. Not one." Okay, so we can split this into two parts here. Let's start, first of all, with her getting physical with Jim Acosta. I'm happy to play the tape for you again. His time was up, and he's a man, bigger. He's stronger than this young woman. His time was up, yet he's refusing to surrender that microphone. I find the whole thing extraordinarily unprofessional and inappropriate.
Well, look, I was watching live, and I've managed press conferences, and I've been a staffer at press conferences. I was really upset watching for that young lady, not because Jim Acosta was doing anything to her or not.
No, you're saying she got physical. In other words, this is somehow her fault, Philippe?
You divide it in half. Let me divide it in half. I was upset that someone put her in that situation. She's an intern. Someone should have had the manager, whoever supervises her.
You know what I'm upset about? I'm upset about that this guy doesn't have enough manners to know that he's already gotten his questions and that there are other reporters in the room and there are additional questions that need to be asked and that someone is coming and taking the microphone so that they can then pass it along to the next person. He just, like a spoiled little kid, won't give it away. It's his toy.
For a guy who had such a resounding victory in the midterms, he was looking awfully cranky and despondent today, and he was
All right, now you're
looking
changing
for
the
a fight.
subject. I disagree with that. No, I think Jim Acosta was looking for a fight. Did you
No,
hear the
not at
opening
all.
of that question?
I did, and right before he even said the topic, Trump said, "Okay, here we go." And we heard the
because
topic.
it's
The
become
question
laughable.
was caravan.
It's become laughable.
It's amazing how we heard about the caravan every day for a month.
The question was about how he believes and his network believes that somehow they're demonizing all immigrants by referring to these migrants that are coming in and saying that they don't deserve to be here.
About the caravan.
Anyway, you're diverting from the issue at hand, which was this inappropriate behavior with this young White House staffer. Deneen, I'll go to you on this because, again, I watched it and I mean, I was stunned, I was shocked, I was nervous, I was worried for her. I wondered if the president was going to have to come down from the podium and actually wrestle the microphone away from Jim Acosta
I don't think you have to worry
himself.
about that. He made this intern do his dirty work.
Clearly, Jim Acosta clearly crossed the line, and this girl was only doing her job. I don't blame her one bit. This is all Jim Acosta's fault. First of all, it's all about him. Anytime he is in this press room, I served in the press room for about 3 months when Trump first took office. It was an absolute circus, and it's gotten worse now. It's all about these agenda-driven, left-wing so-called reporters. They're supposed to be reporting news and facts, but they're not. It's all about them getting the headlines and getting in the news, and that's what Jim Acosta got. We're talking about him. He's making the rounds on the news
I don't think
tonight,
this is the kind of way you want to be in the news, though. I mean, maybe they're looking at it as, you know, any news is good news, but to me,
act like this
is not
to be a
appropriate
rally.
stuff.
If reporters don't act like a rally and cheer and clap at everything Donald Trump says, that they're unprofessional.
So you're condoning what Jim Acosta did today?
First of all, I think we should talk about what Donald Trump did today.
No,
what
we're
Donald
talking
Trump
about
did
Jim
today.
Acosta. That's the memo I got today. I don't know what memo you got.
But that's because it's convenient for you to focus on this young woman.
Can I finish also
with
what Philippe is saying? Hang
position.
on one second, Philippe, because again, we're talking about his behavior. And the president answered a ton of questions. He went on for, what, 90 minutes after that whole ordeal. Yeah. But you say not a single protester touched Sarah Sanders, Kirstjen Nielsen, Stephen Miller, Ted Cruz, or Mitch McConnell, not one.
I think it's hysterical that someone goes up to Sarah Sanders
words can hurt, sir?
and says, please don't take my cheese plate away, and then this young woman gets put in a bad position.
Yeah, so
and all of a sudden, we're Antifa.
Here we go with a revisionist
your
version
girl,
of history
Hillary
again.
Clinton, she called for Democrats to not be civil to Republicans. Do you agree with that?
I agree that people should protest when they are in a position to protest people. Not a single person touched Sarah Sanders, Kirstjen Nielsen, Stephen Miller.
Would it be appropriate
Ted
for people
Cruz,
to follow you and your family into a restaurant and heckle you and disturb you?
There's a difference between something being unpleasant and something being inappropriate. Look, Trish, you get threats, you get nasty mail. Deneen probably does too. I get my share of it.
My viewers are actually pretty nice.
Well,
knock on wood, they're pretty good people.
I would feel pretty good if I were you, protected by your.
And I don't think anybody deserves to get those kind of threats.
No, but no one deserves also to be thrown out of the White House. I mean, it's petulant to say, this is my house.
Oh, it was a long time coming.
Come on.
Please.
Long time coming.
Let's cut to the chase here. You saw the tape, right?
If a Democrat threw you guys out of the White House, it would be all hell would break loose. You would say, what a snowflake president can't handle questions.
Did you not see it? I mean, do we have to play the darn thing again? I'm happy to do it again and again and again and again until you understand, Philippe, how inappropriate and how wrong this was.
I'll tell you who else saw it. Someone tweeted not that long ago that what the president did was inappropriate. And if you don't enjoy something, that's different than the press is right. That's not me. That was Jeb Bush. It was Jeb Bush who tweeted that what the president did today was wrong.
All right. Now, I think he got up there. He answered a heck of a lot of questions, far more, by the way, than President Obama used to answer.
Look,
if I lost What's he have to be cranky about?
He lost the House. I'd be cranky, too.
You know, everybody thought that they would lose that. They lost a whole lot less than you guys were hoping for. So much for that blue wave.
It was a secret victory, and we got suckered into taking the House off your hands.
I'll tell you, not my hands, by the way. We're talking about the country and the health of the country. And I would like to see, for the country's sake, people aligned in a way that they can actually get some policy through and policy done so that we don't go back to those gridlock years we saw during Obama's tenure.
The guys got to get used to being pressed by oversight and by media. media. He just can't handle it, and that's what you saw today.
no.
Yeah, well,
He's
what
got to
the
toughen up,
Democrats'
Buttercup.
Final word
agenda
to
in the
Deneen, and
House,
then I gotta run.
their agenda is to continue obstructing the president with anything he does, to investigate, to look into his finances, his taxes, impeach, subpoenas. So that's what their agenda is. It's not an agenda for
The American
Americans.
people disagree with you.
And
They
meanwhile,
said that.
you got the
It's on
mainstream media
video.
out there attempting to intimidate and just, I guess, filibuster with the microphone. Thank you so much,
It has nothing to do
Deneen.
with the internet.
Phoebe, thank you.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.